this year ends, before this season shifts, before the tears you cried in secret even finish drying, God told me to tell you, everything is about to change for you. Not a little shift, not a small adjustment, a divine reversal. The same God who kept you when you wanted to quit, the same God who covered you when you didn't see the danger, the same God who carried you when nobody else understood your pain. He says, I have not forgotten you. You thought the delay meant no. You thought the silence meant God had moved on. You thought the closed doors were proof that you weren't chosen, weren't qualified, weren't worthy. But what if I told you the delay was never denial? What if I told you it was divine design? See, we live in a world that celebrates speed, fast success, fast money, fast answers. If it doesn't happen quickly, we assume it's not happening at all. But God doesn't operate on your clock. He operates on completion. And sometimes what feels like a delay is actually development. You were asking for something you weren't fully ready to carry yet. It's not that God didn't hear your prayer. It's not that heaven ignored your tears. It's that if he had given you what you wanted in that season, it would have crushed you instead of crowned you. The weight of the blessing would have exposed the weakness in your foundation. So he waited, not to punish you, but to prepare you. While you were frustrated, he was forming. While you were questioning, he was qualifying. While you were wondering why everyone else seemed to be moving ahead, he was strengthening the parts of you that couldn't be seen on the outside. Because God is more concerned with your capacity than your comfort. If he gave you elevation without character, you would sabotage it. If he gave you influence without humility, you would lose it. If he gave you abundance without discipline, you wouldn't sustain it. So the delay became a classroom and the silence became a training ground. You didn't realize that every not yet was building endurance. Every closed door was sharpening discernment. Every disappointment was teaching you not to idolize what was never meant to define you. Sometimes God delays things because the people around you aren't ready either. The environment wasn't aligned. The opportunity wasn't stable. The platform wasn't prepared to handle your growth. And if he had forced it early, it would have fallen apart just as quickly. Divine timing protects what divine purpose produces. And let's be honest, some of us had to grow up emotionally. Some of us had to heal from insecurity. Some of us had to break patterns that would have followed us into the next level. The delay gave you time to mature. Now you pray differently. Now you respond differently. Now you don't chase what once distracted you. That didn't happen overnight. That happened in the waiting. Waiting seasons are not wasted seasons. They are refining seasons. Gold is purified in fire. Muscles are built under resistance. And faith is strengthened in uncertainty. You thought you were stuck, but you were being shaped. You thought you were overlooked, but you were being overseen by a God who knew exactly when to release what he promised. Because when God does it at the right time, it doesn't just bless you, it sustains you. The delay made you stronger. It made you wiser. It made you less desperate for validation and more dependent on purpose. And now when the door opens, you won't walk in insecure. You won't walk in unprepared. You won't walk in trying to prove yourself. You'll walk in knowing that if it took this long, it must be built to last. So stop calling it denial. Stop labeling it rejection. Stop assuming that because it hasn't happened yet, it won't happen at all. The delay was divine. It was strategic. It was necessary. And when everything shifts, and it will, you'll look back and realize that if it had happened sooner, you would have ruined it. But now you're ready, and what's coming won't break you. It will bless you. You thought you were buried. You thought it was over. You thought the darkness meant defeat. But what if the dirt wasn't meant to suffocate you? What if it was meant to position you? There's a difference between being buried and being planted. When something is buried, it's hidden because it's dead. But when something is planted, it's hidden because it's about to grow. And the enemy wanted you to believe that this season was a burial. God says it was a planting. Seeds don't grow in spotlight. They grow in soil, in darkness, in pressure, in isolation. And that's exactly where you've been. You've been in a season where people forgot about you, a season where opportunities dried up, a season where it felt like your name wasn't being called and your efforts weren't being seen. You felt covered up, overlooked, pushed down. But what you called suffocation was actually cultivation. See, when a seed goes into the ground, it doesn't look powerful. It looks small, insignificant, fragile. But inside that seed is something unstoppable. Inside that seed is multiplication. Inside that seed is a future forest. The pressure of the soil doesn't destroy it. it activates it. And the pressure you've been under, it's been activating something in you. You didn't know you were that strong until life tested you. You didn't know your faith could stretch that far until you had nothing else to hold on to. You didn't know how much resilience was inside you until quitting felt easier than continuing, and you chose to continue anyway. That's growth. Growth doesn't look glamorous. Growth looks like tears. Growth looks like lonely nights. Growth looks like trusting God when you don't understand Him. When a seed is planted, the first thing it does is break. The outer shell cracks open, and if you didn't understand the process, you would think the seed was being destroyed. But it's not destruction, it's transformation. Some of you have been breaking old habits, breaking old mindsets, breaking attachments to people who couldn't go where you're going, and it hurt. It felt like loss. It felt like pieces of you were falling apart. But sometimes you have to break to become. The version of you that's about to rise cannot look like the version that went into the ground. And here's what's powerful. When a seed is planted, all the growth happens underground first. No applause, no validation, no audience, just roots. Roots grow before fruit shows. God has been strengthening your roots, your character, your discipline, your prayer life, your discernment, because when you finally break the surface, you'll need something deep enough to hold you steady. If you grow too fast without strong roots, the first storm will uproot you. So the darkness was necessary, the hidden season was necessary, the quiet season was necessary. You weren't forgotten. You were forming roots. And now there's movement underground. You can't see it yet, but something is pushing upward. Something is stretching toward light. Something inside you refuses to stay beneath the surface. That's purpose. And purpose cannot stay buried forever. At some point, the pressure becomes propulsion. At some point, what was covering you starts fueling you. At some point, you break through. And when you do, people will call it sudden. They'll say, that happened fast. They'll think you just appeared, but they didn't see the underground season. They didn't see the breaking. They didn't see the stretching. They didn't see the planting. You were never buried. You were planted with intention, positioned for growth, covered for protection. And when you rise, because you will, but you won't just sprout. You'll flourish. The same dirt that tried to hide you will be the evidence that grew you. And this time, when you come up, you're not going back down. Elevation sounds exciting until you realize what it costs. We love the idea of going higher, but we rarely talk about what has to fall away for us to rise. Because before God elevates you, He separates you. And separation doesn't feel like promotion at first. It feels like loss. It feels like people you thought would always be there slowly drifting away. It feels like rooms you once fit into suddenly feeling uncomfortable. It feels like conversations you used to enjoy no longer aligning with who you're becoming. You start feeling out of place. But being out of place is often the first sign you're being repositioned. See, God will remove you from environments that can no longer sustain your growth. Not because those places were evil, but because they were limited, and what's inside of you is too expansive to stay confined. You can't soar with people who are committed to staying small. So He separates you, not to isolate you, but to insulate you. Because what's coming requires clarity, and clarity is hard to hear in crowded spaces. When everyone has an opinion about your life, your calling, your next move, it becomes difficult to discern God's voice from the noise. Separation silences the noise. Sometimes the separation is physical. A job ends, a relationship shifts, a friendship fades, and you're left asking, why is this happening? But sometimes the separation is internal. You're still around the same people. You just don't connect the same way anymore. The jokes don't land. The gossip feels heavy. The small talk feels draining. That's growth. You're not better than anyone. You're just becoming different, and different can feel lonely. Elevation requires a different mindset, a different level of discipline, a different standard. And not everyone assigned to your last season is equipped for your next one. If God allowed everyone to go with you, some of them would sabotage what He's building in you. So He lovingly removes what would eventually restrict you. We pray for favor, but we don't pray for the courage to walk alone. We ask for increase, but we don't ask for the strength to release what's familiar. Separation forces you to depend on God in a way comfort never could. When the circle gets smaller, your faith gets bigger. When the applause fades, your identity gets clearer. When the distractions disappear, your focus sharpens. God separates you so you can see yourself without interference, because some of us were shrinking to stay connected, dimming our light to keep others comfortable, playing small so we wouldn't outgrow the room. But you cannot elevate and shrink at the same time. You cannot rise while constantly reaching back to hold on to what's pulling you down. Separation isn't punishment, it's preparation. It's God saying, I need you undistracted for where I'm taking you. And here's the hard truth. Not everyone will understand your separation. Some will take it personally. Some will misunderstand your growth. Some will say you've changed, and you have. You had to, because the version of you that's about to step into greater responsibility cannot think, speak, or move the same way you did before. Elevation demands evolution, and evolution requires space. So if this season feels quieter, if it feels smaller, if it feels like you're walking parts of this journey alone, don't panic. God often does his deepest work in private. He's building confidence that doesn't need constant validation. He's building faith that doesn't need constant reassurance. He's building strength that doesn't collapse under pressure. Before the platform, there's pruning. Before the spotlight, there's solitude. Before the elevation, there's separation. And when you finally rise, you'll realize the distance was necessary, because you can't go higher carrying everything from lower levels. Separation precedes elevation, and what feels like loss today is actually making room for tomorrow. You may not see anything changing around you right now. The same job, the same routine, the same unanswered prayers, the same quiet mornings and restless nights. And if you're not careful, you'll assume that because you don't see movement, nothing is moving. But just because you can't see it doesn't mean heaven isn't working. God specializes in behind the scenes miracles. While you're sleeping, he's arranging. While you're praying, he's positioning. While you're doubting, he's developing details you don't even know to ask for. Heaven is not reacting to your situation. It's orchestrating it. There are conversations happening about you that you're not in the room for. There are doors being unlocked with your name attached to them. There are opportunities shifting into alignment because your obedience made space for them. You thought you were waiting. God says you were aligning. Alignment doesn't always look dramatic. It's subtle. It's strategic. It's slow enough that you don't panic, but steady enough that you don't miss it. Sometimes favor doesn't show up as fireworks. Sometimes it shows up as timing. The right email at the right moment. The right person mentioning your name. The right idea landing in your spirit. That's not coincidence. That's coordination. And the reason you don't see all of it is because if you did, you'd try to control it. If you knew every detail, you'd interfere. If you saw the entire blueprint, you might rush the process. So God keeps it covered until it's complete. Think about it. When a master builder constructs something extraordinary, the early stages look messy. There's scaffolding, there's noise, there's dust. If you judged it too soon, you'd think nothing beautiful could come from it. But the architect sees the finished design long before anyone else does. God sees the finished version of your life. He sees the healed you, the confident you, the stable you, the impactful you, and everything happening right now is moving pieces into place for that version to emerge. Even the delays are alignment. That no you received, it redirected you. That relationship that ended, it protected you. That opportunity that fell through, it refined your focus. Heaven is not scrambling trying to figure out your future. It's intentional. It's precise. The frustration you feel is often because you can't see the full picture. You're judging the scene based on one chapter, but God is writing a story that requires multiple scenes to make sense. And here's the powerful part. When alignment is happening, things begin to shift without force. You don't have to beg for what's meant for you. You don't have to manipulate what's aligned for you. You don't have to chase what's assigned to you. When heaven arranges it, it flows. That doesn't mean there won't be work. It doesn't mean there won't be effort, but it means the grace will match the grind. The doors will open without you breaking them down. The connections will feel natural, not forced. And suddenly what once felt impossible starts feeling inevitable. You'll look back and realize that every closed door funneled you toward the right one. Every setback adjusted your steps. Every tear watered the ground for what was about to grow. Behind the scenes doesn't mean behind schedule. It just means beyond your sight. So instead of worrying about what you can't see, trust the one who sees everything. Instead of trying to move pieces yourself, stay obedient where you are. Because when heaven finishes arranging, it won't just be good, it will be undeniable. And when it all comes together, you'll understand why nothing worked before. It wasn't falling apart, it was falling into place. Everything is about to change for you. But here's the truth nobody shouts about. When the season shifts, you must shift with it. it. You cannot step into a new season with an old mindset. We pray for increase. We pray for favor. We pray for overflow. But when it starts showing up, some of us shrink back because we're still thinking like the version of us who struggled. You cannot carry scarcity into abundance. You cannot carry insecurity into influence. You cannot carry fear into favor. If God upgrades your life, but you keep the same thinking, you'll sabotage what he sent to bless you. Growth is not just external, it's internal. See, new seasons require new language. You can't keep speaking defeat over a life God is elevating. You can't keep rehearsing your past when God is rewriting your future. The way you talk about yourself has to change. The way you see yourself has to change. Because where you're going, confidence is not arrogance, it's alignment. Some of you have gotten so used to surviving that thriving feels uncomfortable. You know how to function in chaos. You know how to manage struggle. But peace, stability, overflow, that feels foreign. And when something feels unfamiliar, our instinct is to retreat. But you can't retreat from what you prayed for. When the doors open, you must walk through them boldly. When the opportunity arrives, you must accept it without apologizing. When the blessing manifests, you must receive it without questioning whether you deserve it. You prayed for it. Now prepare for it. Preparation is proof of expectation. If you believe everything is about to change, start thinking like someone whose life is changing. Start disciplining yourself like someone stepping into greater responsibility. Start guarding your energy like someone who understands their value, because elevation without discipline leads to destruction. The next level will demand more from you, more focus, more maturity, more boundaries. You cannot take everyone with you, and you cannot respond the way you used to respond. The old triggers, they can't control you anymore. The old habits, they can't follow you anymore. The old excuses, they can't live in your new environment. Transformation requires surrender. Sometimes the hardest part of change isn't the external shift. It's releasing the identity you've grown comfortable with, even if that identity was smaller than your potential. You may have been the overlooked one, the underestimated one, the one who always came in second, but that identity cannot follow you into a season where God is positioning you first. You must see yourself differently. Stop introducing yourself through your wounds. Stop defining yourself by your past failures. Stop expecting disappointment before you even try. The season has changed, and if you don't renew your mind, you'll miss it. Renewal means choosing faith over fear. It means choosing discipline over distraction. It means choosing obedience over comfort. It means waking up each day aware that you are no longer in the same place spiritually, mentally, or emotionally. You've grown. Now act like it. Everything changing around you requires something changing within you, because blessings expand what's already inside. If insecurity is inside, blessings will expose it. If gratitude is inside, blessings will multiply it. So prepare your heart. Strengthen your mind. Guard your spirit. Don't step into the new season casually. Step into it consciously. This is not the time to doubt yourself. This is the time to align yourself. When everything changes, let your confidence change. Let your standards change. Let your habits change. You are not who you used to be, and this next season will respond to who you believe you are now. Shift your mind, shift your language, shift your posture, because everything is about to change for you, and this time you're ready to change with it.